Hey everyone, it's Boozer here. This is gonna be my 1 billion budget wizard. I'm fortunate enough to have a Vindy Matrix. This guy right here. He was trusting and willing enough to give me a 1 billion gold budget to build him a super sexy wizard. And he gave me some rough expectations. Um, Mainly focusing more on DPS. Um, I did stress and recommended some pretty high-end stats for defense that we should have hit, but I think it's something to grow on. Um, Tried my best to incorporate his DPS requests with a viable amount of defense for monster power 7 or higher. Ideally, this 1 billion wizard could handle 10, which I think it could. Um, but anyway, so as you may have seen, my 250 million wizard, um, from the looks of it, doesn't look too different from the 1 billion wizard. There's a couple things that go on here. I never thought that a 1 billion wizard would differ too much from a 250 million wizard besides DPS alone. Just because the gear is roughly the same, but you get a little bit more out of it because you have more money. I think where the build and the gear starts changing up a little bit is really at 2 billion. That's when Mempos and arcane power on crit, chant forces and socket forces really come into play for that extra DPS. So anyways, so with 1 billion, the initial thought was I'm gonna go with the bonus speed one. So let's go over some of the gear choices that I chose here. So like I said, went with the chance will. For this one, like I said before, I'm looking for 10 arcane power. Decent intelligence roll on this one. 185, not the best, but in the middle. Big stat here is I'm looking for 1.78 attack speed per second or higher. 1.79 is ideal, but I didn't want to pay a premium for it. So this one, 110, buy it now. One of the best, pretty reasonably priced on auction house at the time. The reason why we want 1.78 or higher is so that we can only need 6 perfect 9 attack speed items to hit 2.73 breakpoint. If I got a slower one, we're going to have to get 7 items, which isn't really ideal because that really hampers our DPS, since we have to get like a trifecta, basically attack speed, crit damage, crit chance on ring or jewelry or like it's just going to be so expensive. So this really saves cost down the line. Look for 1.78, try to get 6 perfect attack speed items, save you some grief, maybe add you some DPS. Next choice, went with a Stormcrow again. So like I said, no Mempo here, it's just going to break the budget to go Mempo. Went Stormcrow. This one a little expensive for a 5 crit one, 40 mil, but basically perfect every single stat. Pretty good life on hit, 10 arcane power, 4% elite, 8% lightning damage. I could have went with a really cheap one for 20, but I thought for sure we're going to need a pretty good life on hit roll and 10 arcane power, so went with this one for 40. My next purchase, gonna go with the big guys right away. Chance Force. Went with Vitality here. Strength roll was a nice random roll to throw in for extra armor. Had to be 9 attack speed. 9.5 crit chance, pretty good. At 120 mil, about market value. Wouldn't say it's a super good deal, but it was really good compared to the rest of the forces that were on the market at the time. 190 intelligence also helps. Over 280 average damage. Just like my previous builds, I go for attack speed items first. So I'm going to knock off the Witching Hour. Not too fond of the health globes, but For 47 mil, this was the only 60 all resist belt with 9 attack speed with over 45 crit damage. It was by far the best DPS witching hour within its price range. Anything close to it was about 100 mil with random stats that weren't even as good. So all resist in the high 60s, pretty good. 99 intelligence roll, pretty good too. I think I did pretty good on this one for what was available on Auction House at the time. So after that, went with the amulet. I knew I wasn't going to get attack speed on the amulet just because I wanted close to 100 crit damage. I found this little guy. I actually wasn't very fond of it when I saw it, but the more I looked at it, I was actually pretty happy about this buy. 65 million only, 100 intelligence, 100 vitality, 12% life, almost 400 armor. Where are you going to make that up? Nowhere, pretty much. Almost 100% crit damage. Crit chance a little low, but 65 million, I thought this was pretty good deal compared to the rest, and it had some really good stats that could be knocked off other gear later on. Another thing that I kept in mind. So after that, again sticking with the attack speed items, had to go with 9% attack speed here. This might look similar to the 250 mil budget ring, but this one has armor. Ended up paying about 99 million for it. We could have got something comparable for about 70 million, but opted to pay a little bit more for a little bit better vitality roll and the armor roll. So this is not bad. Obviously I can't afford a trifecta one with crit chance and attack speed, so this will have to do. Double roll intelligence, so 140 intelligence plus socket was also over 100 with not very good stats on it. So I like the the supporting stats on this pox, so I like this list. I like this ring. So with that 380 armor on this amulet, also kept in mind for the black thorns. As you can see here, I do not have armor on my pants. I don't know if you guys checked the auction house, but 70 all resist, 300 armor blackthorn pants are extremely expensive. I feel that since armor is undervalued on amulets especially, it really helped out with this purchase here, allowing me to basically surplant the intelligence that I lost from a higher DPS amulet and put it onto the pants for a much better price. So this one I ended up bidding on, and I won it for 48 million. Pretty good deal at the time. There's nothing even comparable that I could have bought out on the auction house. Closest comparable was 80 million. It wasn't selling, so I wasn't buying. So I thought there's a pretty good setup here with the amulet and the extra life points, and that means I didn't need the extra vitality roll on this one as well. Just went straight DPS pants. Next I'm going to go with my chest Zuni. So since I have the pox, obviously I'm going to get the marrow. This one was the cheapest one on the auction house, 45 million. Closest one comparable was closer to 60 million with less stats and less armor. So, and any kind of significant upgrade over this one would have been in the hundreds of millions, which is totally overpriced. So for 45 million, it's not the best chest, but it's a really good deal compared to everything else. So pretty good. After that, decided to go with Nat's Reflection. We're going to go with the Nat set, as always, for a CM Wizard. Really helps out with extra crit chance, allowing you to put crit damage on certain items, like the Pox, because you can't afford crit chance on it, and attack speed, since we need attack speed. So just attack speed, crit damage is fine, because we have the Nat's Reflection. So for this one, we actually paid a little bit more. Ended up getting a native crit chance, 3.5%. Not a lot, but the supporting stats on this ring are very impressive. Good intelligence roll, good vitality roll, and armor. Of course, a 9% attack speed too. 150 million. It's arguable that I could have paid less, but what was available on the auction house at the time, this ring was hard to beat. After that, went with the Vile Ward. I put on the gear and I noticed my